Peace. Today's mathematics is culture, which is the number 4. And as a 5%, one of the things that we commonly say is culture is one's way of life. And it's a very simplistic way of communicating a very sophisticated concept, because when you think about culture consists of many different elements. Culture is not just one's way of life, but it's the sum total of all of our people activities. It's our diet, our language, our regalia or style of dress, how we define our relationships, how we approach the environment, our perspectives on education or academics. These and many other elements represents our culture. And as a 5%, one of the things that we also teach and encourage is to approach culture from the perspective of knowledge and understanding. Well, why do I say that? Because knowledge is number 1 and understanding is the number 3. In the same way that 1 and 3 equals 4, knowledge and understanding should equal culture. Should equal culture. And I say should because most of us have been raised in environments and socialized not to think critically or creatively about ourselves, others, and the environment. Most of us have been simply taught to believe. And a lot of the things that we call culture have been transgenerationally passed on. Some of the things that we eat may be things that our great-grandparents ate. We may not put much thought into why we eat these things or how we communicate in our family. We may have seen our aunt and uncle, and that's the way they communicate, and we may not put much thought into that. These and many different other elements have simply been passed on to those of us who live a way of life that we have never really examined critically or assessed for ourselves. Now, as the 5%, we're taught that if you're going to live a certain life, then you should know and understand what it is that you're involved in. You should know and understand what you're saying. You should know and understand what you're eating or how you dress, and not only how it affects you, but how it affects others as well as the environment. Now, when you look at the number 4, the 4th letter in our alphabet is D, which represents divine or destroy. And divine or destroy is used as a measuring tool for us to assess what we're doing and how we're speaking and how we're living. It's an assessment tool of our culture. Meaning, when you're going through that critical examination and you're looking at certain foods, you're asking yourself the question, is this divine or is it destroy? Is this something that is going to be a asset to how I live and how I feel? Or is it going to be a liability? Not only to me, but will it be a liability to others? Will it be a liability to the environment? And when you just take a look around you, you can see that most people are simply on autopilot. Most people are doing and saying things that have been simply passed on to them, and they've never really stopped to think, is this something that's healthy for me, others, and the environment? So here's the key to all of this. 4 being culture, and like I mentioned, it is knowledge and understanding, or we should always strive to approach culture from the perspective of knowledge and understanding. Knowledge and understanding, or 13, or the letter M in our alphabet, is knowledge and understanding. So the 13th letter is master, which represents the ability to control or define our own destiny. And here's the thing. When people are not critically examining their way of life or those elements or those people activities, it's easy to become mastered or enslaved to certain type of habits and certain type of addictions. The only way that you can master those type of habits or addictions is to have a thorough knowledge and understanding of how it affects you, others, as well as the environment. And most people, again, are not encouraged to take that approach when it comes to living a way of life. And that's one of the reasons why you oftentimes don't see people divinely expressing themselves, as opposed to consistently doing things that are destructive, not only to themselves, but destructive to other human beings as well as the environment. So if we're not striving to master these elements of our culture and define our own destiny, then we're going to find ourselves in a position where we're being mastered and oftentimes controlled by those who want us to be on autopilot and not to think for ourselves or critically examine the different people activities that we have adopted into our life. So this was inspiring. It was empowering, it was educational, it just gave those of you some perspective on culture and one of the reasons why we say that it is one's way of life. Peace.